Ceylon, where the country's tiny 8,000-man army has just had its first ever taste of active combat. General Atigali briefs his men on flushing out the so-called Che Guevara guerrillas, thousands of discontented students whose armed rebellion against the government has brought Ceylon to its biggest crisis since independence. Fighting broke out in Ceylon on the night of April the 5th, when well-organized bands of guerrillas struck simultaneously at 25 police posts throughout the country. The government claimed the insurgents were members of a banned student organization known as the People's Liberation Front, and had declared a state of emergency 2 weeks earlier, when it became clear the unrest was founded on nationwide discontent. In the first few weeks of the fighting, government security forces made short work of the rebels, who proved in many cases to be ill-trained, enthusiastic students. With strict censorship in operation, no casualty figures were published. The government claimed only 100 rebels were killed, but some newspaper reports estimated the real figure at 1,500. Western journalists also accused the security forces of needless brutality, particularly with prisoners, and even alleged that mass executions had taken place. Ceylon is a small island lying some 40 miles off the coast of India. It's roughly the same size as Ireland, and its 1,000 miles of coastline offers the same attractions to arms smugglers. Throughout the emergency, Ceylon's tiny navy has been constantly on the alert against any attempt to smuggle arms to the guerrillas. The Indian Navy also helped in carrying out searches, and actually arrested 2 North Korean trawlers trying to get illegal arms ashore.
Fishing craft, stop your engines. We are coming to search you. We are coming to search you.
This time the suspects were small fry, but the government was taking no chances on even the smallest trickle of help reaching the rebels. Although most of the fighting looks to be over, a guerrilla campaign could be fought in the jungles for years. We put this point to Ceylon's Home Affairs. The reason's not difficult to find. The guerrilla movement is largely organized and led by unemployed graduates, of whom Ceylon has 14,000, all products of a free and compulsory education system that's wildly out of step with the nation's economy. The rank and file of the movement is provided by school and university students, teachers and Buddhist monks. 60,000 are thought to be involved. Although the government seemed to be taken by surprise by the scale of the revolt, the first signs of the crisis showed themselves last year when the Ceylon Special Branch produced a report on a revolutionary political youth group known as the People's Liberation Front, dedicated to overthrowing the government. And as recently as last September, the authorities marched 63 of these young people into court to face various charges of subversion. The declared aim of the April the 5th insurgents was to topple Mrs. Bandaranaike's government and replace it with an even more left-wing administration. They failed, but the fact that the attempt was made at all has shown the government just how urgently reforms are needed. We asked Mr. Bandaranaike if the uprising had forced the government to review its 12-hour curfew are not the best kinds of publicity.
Come out. Get out.
The Prime Minister's critics say she's exaggerated the crisis to divert attention from the state of the economy and her own government's mismanagement. Although the fighting may be over for the moment, Ceylon's crisis certainly isn't. The rebels are reported to have taken control of some country areas from which they hope to organize a more permanent form of resistance. If economic reforms are not pushed through quickly, Mrs. Bandaranaike could, in a few years' time, be faced with a much stronger challenge to her authority.